What up guys, welcome to Chef Vic, and today is going to be an awesome, delicious, tender, juicy pulled pork salad with nice Carolina style barbecue sauce. Stay tuned, I hope you guys enjoy. Alright guys, so we're kicking off a cool little episode on the pulled pork sandwich. I'm looking forward to this. The rub I'm using is basically kind of like my go-to rub lately, been what I use for the beef ribs. If you guys want to check that out, highly recommend. Those things came out delicious. But it has like anchovy powder and chipotle powder, but except I think this one though, I will admit I did not put no chipotle powder, but I put a little anchovy for color and a little paprika, a tiny bit. But mostly it's salt and pepper because I want to really develop that bark, like Texas style brisket and stuff like that. Also, I didn't use no binder because I don't see no necessary. I think it was tacky enough, so the rub was sticking very well. If you guys know about pulled pork and all that, like the Boston butt they call it, or the pork butt, it has no really need of any type of trim, so I didn't trim none at all. I didn't see nothing even hanging out. You see little bits of meat like sticking out, you could take those off because it doesn't burn in the cook. But really open the pack, dry off, and season it up, and it's pretty much ready. It's pretty easy, straightforward type of meat. So I got up at around 6:30, and then around 7 it was in the pit cooking away. So like I said, just cook it up, season it up with a nice salt and pepper rub or any kind of rub you like, and it's pretty much ready for the barbecue pit. That is a perfectly nice rub pork, and let's just put it in the smoker and cook it up. Alright, I got this pit working at 275 to 300 range. I'm going to put my pork butt right in the middle, thick side towards the fire so you can handle the heat of the fire. I'm having some extra meat in there, like pork belly trimmings from the upcoming videos coming up shortly, but just maintain some fires and develop that bark. So the bark are developing very nicely on this pork butt, but I'm going to spray a little apple cider vinegar just to keep it nice and moist. At this point, you guys can use it wherever you want. This is keeping it moist so it doesn't dry up or burned up too much. So while the pork butt is cooking away in the smoker, I'm going to make a nice, delicious, simple coleslaw. It's going to have cabbage, carrots, and then coleslaw dressing as well. So the whole head of cabbage does make a lot, so just keep in mind of that. This recipe I'm using is going to use half of the head. I'm going to cut the core and thinly slice it. You can use a food processor if you guys would like to, or even I've seen using a grater as well, but I'm just going to slice it thin with my knife and then keep it simple. So to start off with a simple coleslaw, I'm kind of eyeballing this. I really don't measure on these kind of things because I just go by the consistency of it. So it's going to be roughly like about half a cup of mayo, about like a 2 tablespoon worth of mustard, vinegar I do on taste. So I kind of like mine more on the vinegary side. So it's probably going to be at least a third and a fourth of the cup or so. And also I'm using 2 to kind of thin out the mayo. So for me, I like this kind of eyeball it and then just give it a nice mix. So I'm going to add some sugar to sweeten it up a little bit to balance out that vinegar. You don't have to use it, it's optional, but I like to use a little bit of sugar, or sometimes I use honey as well. So I'm going to use a paprika for color. I'm going to use some pepper. I'm going to use some garlic and onion powder and salt. And all that is pretty much this seasoned to taste and see what you like. You can use a barbecue rub, pre-made rubs, stuff like that. But this is my kind of simple coleslaw dressing. So we're gonna mix the dressing with the cabbage mix, and then we're gonna mix it well, set it aside. Coleslaw does taste pretty good though when it sits for a good minute. The flavors comes out really well like that. But the coleslaw should be ready for the ultimate delicious pulled pork sandwich. So, spraying it with apple cider vinegar on the foil. I'm gonna foil wrap this fully, not doing the foil boat method. Maybe in the next video I would do that. I'm gonna spray it up a little bit with the apple cider vinegar again on top. Just make sure it's nice and moist. And then I just took it out around 175. To me, that's a perfect temperature to take it out to wrap it up. Besides, that bark developed beautifully. It has a really dark bark like a brisket does, and that's what I like about it. And then I'm gonna wrap up tight and finish in the smoker.
Alright, my friends, so, and I don't know why my camera didn't, there we go. So, the pork butt is done. I'm going to show you guys right now. I got it in a towel right here. It is tender. I don't know if you guys can see that. I will show you guys, but I'm just going to let it rest for at least, I don't know, like 30 minutes or so, maybe an hour. I know people don't think you don't have to really rest pork butt that long, but I like to just to make sure. But we're gonna shred this up and make some delicious sandwich that's gonna be breathtaking. All right, guys, it's time to, oh my, there's a freaking fly in here. All right, before the fly had a feast on the pork butt, we're gonna shred this bad boy. I let it rest for at least 30 minutes or so. But it's time to take out this bad boy out of this little bucket here. Bowl. Oh my. Oh dear, it's tender. There we go. And it's a little toasty. But it's the big test here is to see how tender this bad boy is. If this comes out clean, I did things right. And oh yeah. Clean as a whistle. You guys actually could save this bone and I don't know, buy other bones. You can make good pork stock with this too. So that's a good flavor. But now it's time to shred it up. It's a little steamy. Pork butt is really not a big deal because you're always gonna. Oh, that's just tender.
So we're gonna start off with building our sandwich by toasting our buns, of course, homemade buns. You want to check out these bun recipes? Check out my homemade burgers. I'm using the exact same buns that I used then, so please go check out that video. It's pretty awesome. I'm gonna put a good old helping size pulled pork around there. I don't need to put mayo on there because this thing is juicy. And also I'm putting barbecue sauce and then of course the coleslaw, so I don't think it's necessary. But nevertheless, I put a good old helping pulled pork on there. Ball it up and put it right down the bottom, and then I put a little bit of coleslaw right on top, just like that, and it's looking delicious as always. You just can't beat a good pulled pork sandwich. You just can't beat it. Tastes delicious, tastes awesome. Now I have these homemade pickles right here. I will make a video on how to make homemade pickles, stuff like that, even barbecue sauce. I didn't record making this Carolina style barbecue sauce due to the fact that I've never made it before, so I was kind of googling and making sure how to make it, and must say this thing came out very delicious, nice and tangy, ketchup base as well, so nice and sweet as well too. I'll put a little bit on there on top of the sandwich, let that thing drizzle all over the sandwich. It'll be messy, but in a messy good way. It is delicious, you guys. You won't be disappointed with this pulled pork sandwich. And then enjoy.
And that is that thing is so good, guys. I'm so happy with that. And it actually took close to 8 to 9 hours. Not bad for that size of pork. Technically I did wrap it on an early note and then use the foil, but I was kind of worried it's gonna burn. That's why I kind of wrapped it early, guys. So if you think the wrap looked early, yeah, but it actually wasn't that far off. When I wrapped it, it was around 160. So it's a little too early, but at the same time it had its bark and actually kept its bark pretty well. And I think it was perfect. And then the juiciness is tender, juicy, smoky, salty, savory, sweet from the barbecue sauce, but yet tangy, spicy because of the barbecue sauce, and the creaminess and the crunch from the coleslaw and the pickles. That's good. So you guys like this video, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell so you guys can get notified upcoming new videos. And remember, Jesus loves you, and have a blessed day, my friends, and I will see you next time.